Are we there?
Hello, good evening. Sorry, I was falling down an Amazon rabbit hole.
Hello. Welcome to Let's Have a Fefe Season 11, Episode 7. Oh my
7, I
goodness.
know. We are moving right along. It seemed like an
I feel like I
exceptionally
just woke
long week.
up.
It feels like it felt like this week was almost 2 weeks because I had to think about whether or not we actually did a show last week. It's weird.
It's
Time
because
is
we did
weird
it
this
before
week.
the holiday? Maybe?
Probably.
I
I don't know. I have no idea what day it is.
The
Who
holiday
is
is
this?
one of those times that the time just blends into itself, and it's worse when you work from home
Much.
like I do. Like I have no idea what day it actually is.
Oh.
This is the only reason I did.
Okay. Well, speaking of time, this has been 10 years of your Wednesday night conversation. I am Felicia Fefe Minor, and over there with the pretty mustache and raised brows.
I
Inquisitive
am
crowd.
still Freddie Prinze Charming. And look, I have Sir Eric's artwork up. I made sure
I love
I had it
it.
up before the show. I meant to do it last week and forgot, but I have it up. So I'm excited that I have that now on the
Love
wall.
it.
My hat is covering my king sign though. It's all right.
Oh,
And
did
of
we
course, we
forget?
do have a special guest with us this week.
Who?
You can see him hanging out down there. He is Mr. Trans USA 2022, Dylan B. Dickerson White.
Howdy.
Everybody.
Yes,
Your name
the
is
the
too
rabbit hole is
long.
the sunglasses. I bet it
Why
is.
is your
Never
I-
your name
heard
is
of
very
him.
long? Why is your name very long?
Why
I
is
can't
your
explain
name
it.
long?
My name is just one name. I don't have 87 names like so many of these other people.
You're just one short.
Just one of the limit that we know. Just
Here we go. Anyhow, we'd like to thank our Patreon supporters. And after tonight, they may not support us anymore. I'm just kidding.
It's
gonna be my fault. I know it. It's gonna end the show.
We'll just bill you.
Let's Have a
accordingly. It's
Fifi
fine.
does not endorse nor necessarily agree with the opinions and comments that have been going to appear on the Tonight Show.
Oh, I'm glad we have legal. That's
We
good.
got a
Right.
disclaimer. That's the one that goes under the 1-800 number at the bottom of the screen.
Wait,
Right.
it's not that kind of show. You can get
I
exclusive
said
content.
1-800, not 1-900.
Oh, I get them confused. I dial. Anyway, go to patreon.com for exclusive content. It's patreon.com/let's have a Fifi. We'd like to thank our patrons: Brandon D, Drake Jensen, Casey Starr, Carrie and Corey, Kim, Joan, Leanne, Nicole, and Shannon. Special thanks to Success Boutique, LC Designs, and Wigs of a Kind for supporting us. But of course, you can drop a good old dime in our PayPal at paypal.me/let's have a Fifi. If you want to sponsor us, which means that you want to add like zeros behind your money
That
or
would be
commas
nice.
and zeros,
We like commas, decimal points.
we will put you down as a sponsor.
Punctuation.
Yes, we will.
Mhm.
We will appreciate every bit of it. If you want to get texts from me randomly throughout the week for no reason at all, you can text LHAF to 602-730-7379.
I'm gonna do that because nobody texts me anymore. I have no, except
Oh, don't do
Well,
that.
see, there you go. Just do
I
that,
will
and then
text
you'll get
you
random
all the
shit from
time.
Felicia. I have no idea what she sends out. Not a damn clue.
I
That's gonna
mean,
be
it's
better than
artistic
therapy.
nudes. Artistic nudes is fine.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Bam.
And if you're on Facebook, and there's like a little circle with a star in it, if you click that and then you give us 5 stars, 50 stars, 100, 5,000 stars, it gives us like a little bit of cash. It don't give us all the cash because Facebook got to make money too. So I don't know how that works. But
It's so hard up for money.
yeah, they're suffering.
Right.
They're laying people off. They need the money. We want to thank folks like DJ Image, Eddie Omega, Laura
Renfro.
Renfro. It feels like I'm saying it wrong. Renfro.
Well, you have it spelled wrong. That's probably why.
Oh, okay. Are you sure?
Yep.
I, oh. Oh. I never promised I could spell. I better put on the makeup. There are so many more folks that have donated stars, but let's talk about our weekend. How was your weekend, Freddie?
Uh, Thursday we didn't do much. We kind of started decorating a little bit, and we're like we didn't have the kids. We decided we didn't want to do much, so we just kind of bummed around the house until I think it was probably at 3 o'clock about 3 o'clock. We drove down to H Mart and got Korean food because
Oh, my old
as
hood.
one does. And then got a couple things that I needed at the Asian market for Saturday because Friday I ended up on call at work, so I wasn't actually didn't have to be tethered to my laptop, which was
Oh,
really
how
nice.
rude.
So so stupid. I hate it when they do that. It's so fucking dumb. Just put me on call. I'm salaried. Who fuck cares? Like, just whatever. So they told us you can go ahead and sign off. If we need you, we'll call you. But it gave me a chance
Did
to
they
kind of
call you?
start. No, thank
Okay.
God. That gave me an opportunity to start prepping some stuff for Saturday. Because we had a Friendsgiving that we were doing on Saturday. Felicia. So I made the pies. And
I
so I didn't
didn't
have to.
go. That's why he's making that noise.
Uh-huh.
I was also invited to
Um,
one and I did not go. I got the same reaction.
yeah. Yeah. Saturday, then we had a Friendsgiving, but we did like drop-in style so that nobody had to like feel obligated to like come at a certain time and whatever. It was great. We had like 15-ish people drop in throughout the day. We had a 28-pound turkey. We had a huge ass fucking turkey, and there was not much left of it. Like it
Oh,
and
wow.
we didn't have much of anything in terms of leftovers. There were pretty much
Those
no green
15
beans
people ate.
left. No mashed potatoes. There was some mac and cheese. Not a lot of turkey. Like shit was tapped out. Like, I'm happy about that. Like that means that people actually liked my cooking,
Yes.
so I'm okay with that. Um, Everyone that came said they really like enjoyed the vibe and the energy that we have in the house, which was great
The fuck?
because we try to like not have people with gross energy and energy vampires and stuff over. So like that was good. Oh, and because he came, I actually got my
Who came?
Brandon McGill. So I actually got my Magician's
Oh, I'm
Tarot deck,
so jealous.
which is super super cool. And it came with 2 stickers because I am was I in the 10 of Pentacles? In the 9 or 10, whatever. But I have one of his nifty like pentacle stickers. It's all like holographic and shit. And then of course the
Which are
magician's
hand
hat.
drawn.
It's a
I know they're all hand drawn because my is just stupid. Their artwork is ridiculous. And it was funny because like there were a bunch of people that were here that had no idea who Brandon was. So they were like looking through the deck and they were like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." So I'm like, "Yeah, you need to go follow them so that you can keep up on all the stuff that Brandon does because
Yeah,
Brandon's
I'm gonna have like I
ridiculous."
just even see those little stickers and I'm just gonna have to go like over here and follow my
I
own
know,
little
and
rabbit
I
hole
kept
and just
I was asking like because who was it? A couple other people got theirs too, and I was like, "Do you want me to sign it?" And nobody wanted me to sign it, and I was really, really, I was
I read that
very
you didn't
offended.
sign my are you
I was
if you get
very
to
offended.
sign mine, will you let me sign yours?
No, I want to keep mine
Wait, show me
pristine.
mine. I want to see it in print.
Uh, okay. Well, how was your weekend while I do that?
My weekend. Hey, that's you. Yes, it is you. Be sure to follow Brandon McGill on Facebook, Instagram, the Twitters, the Snapchats, the all of the things. Um,
Personally, I
my
think we should
week.
have been the king and queen of pentacles, but what do I know?
I'm not arguing because I was the queen. Oh, look at she looks so good on paper.
I was like,
That
you're one of the
almost looks
few that
better than the digital.
I know. It's like it's hard. I
that's
can't get
just
it to focus.
It's
every time I
focusing on
feel
the
like I'm good
glare.
at something, I see something like that and I'm like, I'm never touching a pen again.
I know.
That's incredible.
What? That should be like your
And it's
inspiration.
good.
Like
Felicia
your
wasn't naked, which means that I can like show this, and also it's not super awkward for
Oh.
me.
oh, there are some cards that are
Oh, there's a lot of
Nicky
very naked
Nicky.
cards in here. There are a lot of
I
penises in this
love
deck.
that. I
I'm not
love
mad
it.
about it. I'm just kind of glad for my own personal sanity that Felicia's is not one of
So,
them.
like, we don't have that kind of.
It's
I
been
can be a
like
queen with a
12 years. I've
penis.
never seen Felicia naked. I've never seen Felicia naked.
That's
I'm okay
impressive
with
for
that.
people who have worked together for that long in this community, because I'll have people that it's my second show with them and they're just like, full out balls down, like
Yep.
bent over in the dressing room, like in front of me. I'm like, oh, well, nice to meet you too.
Well, I have.
I've seen plenty of balls. I have seen plenty of peni. I have seen all the
Who said I?
vaginas and boobs and everything. I have never
Oh my
seen
gosh! Why are we talking
anything.
about my
I've
gents?
never seen Felicia's naughty
My
bits, and I'm
gents.
okay with
Oh my
that.
god!
I'm okay with that.
I'll send you nudes later.
Thank
Artistic nudes.
you,
Artistic news. I have to
Reed.
text you, right? The LHA.
Yeah, you're right.
The official.
Yes, Brandon, you have seen me naked.
Brandon was the first person to see me naked, except for my partner, after I had top surgery.
Oh,
I know.
That's like one of those
wow.
important moments, though, that you're always gonna remember, though. Like, yeah, because you're like
Right.
so
When I had
self-conscious after you
Brandon,
have top. Yeah.
like Brandon was the first person, like one of the few people that were that close to my junk. Like that generally didn't happen. Anyway, sorry. How was your weekend, Felicia?
Nothing compared to all the genitalia that we've been talking about.
Mm.
Like, where do we go?
Um,
I only get to see said genitalia in print, though I don't actually have any in my house, which
I
is
mean, you didn't
kind of sad.
ask. You just have to ask.
Mm.
It's really becoming that kind of show that we talked about.
Let me see it. And so where did I leave off? Oh, I spelt brine last week. The turkey got into the brine, made the turkey on Thursday. Didn't have that many people over, which was this was the first year that I didn't have to cook for a lot of people, and I was grateful. Love the family, but I was grateful because there wasn't a lot of, I don't know what to call it, scrambling, a lot of
Mm.
plus I either ordered stuff or made it the night before, so all I did was cook the turkey, and that was
That's the way to do it.
like close to my heart. I was like, oh, I'm done with the turkey, and then it was like, oh, I'm done. I'm done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, actually done. I can
Yes.
eat the food and not feel like I want to go sleep immediately. Because sometimes when you cook like a huge meal like that, you're just like, I don't even care about the food anymore. I just want to go to bed.
I don't want to
Yes.
eat it. I just need a nap now.
Yeah.
In years past, I have been like, okay, you guys eat. I'm gonna go sleep real quick and then come back out and be social. But I didn't have to do that, so I think I fell asleep a little early too. And then I cut down the turkey and then I boiled the bones too after a little ditty to make my own broth, and I made not pot pie. What do they call it when it's not in the pot pie? Is it alakeen or something? Something?
I don't know. I
I don't
don't
know.
eat pot pie. I hate that shit. It's gross.
Uh,
No, I don't. I don't
well,
understand what it's
that's
supposed to
rude.
be.
That's so rude. Uh,
Call it a deconstructed pot pie. It's
okay.
a deconstructed pot pie.
I
That's,
feel it.
that's
I
it's
feel it. That's what it
$47.99 at the
was.
hipster store.
Mm-hmm.
Make it.
It's right next to the avocado toast, and that was it. I didn't really do much, and then we decorated the tree, and put up decorations. That was about it. And then getting the dad disappointment text
Mm-hmm.
on
That's your own
Saturday.
damn fault.
It
That's your own damn
is.
fault. It.
It is.
Mhm.
But that's me. That's
Mm.
all. I don't
Mm.
have I didn't have any shows, which was okay with me too.
Yeah, I was happy
If
with that.
somebody had
Dylan,
asked me
how
to
was your weekend? How was your
Mhm.
holiday?
Well, let's take these off for a second.
Oh, is it
Oh,
that
we getting serious.
serious? Oh,
Getting serious now.
No, the world just opened up too. Okay, so I did not plan on going anywhere. I was planning on staying here, getting some real work done, and just pounding that out. And like, oh, let's just go down to the in-laws' family. All right. So now they used to live in a central-ish part of West Virginia, but now this is even further out. So you have to drive 17 miles into bumfuck nowhere. There's back roads. I don't even know if you can.
Oh.
There's one internet hub for the entire county,
Oh.
and
Oh,
no
dear
cell service
God.
at the house. And it's
did you go back to 1996 or
I
something?
felt
Where
like
did you
I actually
go?
think the carpeting in that place is older than I am, and I think Freddie knows how old I am, so we'll leave it at that. But no, and there were
Uh-huh.
7 adults, 3 children, and 2 large dogs inside and 2 large dogs outside in a trailer down there. And I was tasked with playing with the kids. So
Oh,
the food was
Oh.
great except for this one thing. I don't know if anybody has heard of this before. Does anyone ever put like egg in their mac and cheese? Because I thought that was the
I'm
weirdest thing.
sorry.
okay.
Yeah,
It depends on okay. How did they put the egg in it? Like, was it
Yeah,
just
I was gonna ask that.
thrown in?
it was like mixed in with it, and then they baked it in the oven.
Okay, so when
I
I
just
make my mac and cheese, I actually beat in 2 eggs, but the eggs get beat in with the evaporated milk and the cheese and all this stuff, and it makes part of
Yeah.
the sauce. Like, if you're just gonna kind of throw eggs into it, no, 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 hard pass on that.
I don't even
Excuse me,
know
can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
of course.
Um, uh, are these white people?
There, I said Southern West Virginia, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No,
Okay. You can continue. Mhm.
I love how you lean down to me. I am short in real life, but we are the same. No, that was the highlight of it. So I was really glad to not have to be so connected all the time because I really couldn't respond to any messages. I had to go down the street like a little while to like
Oh,
check in, but I also couldn't really do
Christ.
anything at all. So we did end up driving like 2 hours to Morgantown just to meet some friends one night because there's
oh
nothing. And
my God.
I feel like I don't even know how I would live there because I love them. They're great people to visit, but it's like if I'm 45 minutes from like a grocery store when I just want to go get some ice cream because I'm crying
Nope.
my eyes out at 4 in the morning.
Nope.
No, let alone
Oh.
hospitals, but the ice cream's the important part.
Oh.
No, I've
Mhm.
been there. Not a fan. Never want to do it again. Never want to do it again. Mm-mm.
Really?
So where were you at that
Mm-mm.
was that far?
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
say.
I've lived out in fucking bumfuck nowhere. I've lived in Arizona City, which is this little
Oh,
fucking town that is in between Casa Grande and Phoenix, but
by my
close to
house.
nothing.
See, I
It's
have
on the
no
other side of the
concept.
freeway of your house, but another about half an hour down the fucking road that
Oh my
like it
God.
there's nothing there.
I
There's
don't
nothing there. I
live
think
in
there might have been a
BFE.
family.
I just
I
live
think there
further
you do live. No,
away.
you still live in BFE. You
You
do.
live in BFE from me.
I do not actually. I am quite central to just about everything.
No,
In fact, almost everybody that came over on Saturday, everybody was like, "Does everybody live like between 8 and 10 minutes away from here?" Because that seemed to be the like we're in this little central hub. Apparently, everybody that we know lives within like 8 to 10 minutes,
I
except
do
Felicia.
not.
No.
I feel like I'm the worst about it because they either live within like 20 minutes or they're 6 hours away from me. Like it's
That
people
sounds
that I
Whoa.
about
know.
right.
And
That
no, but
sounds about right.
the fun part about that area, and these are I have so many stories about that. There was a time we had to wait for the cow to get out of the road.
Oh my God.
And then wait for somebody to come, like get his dad to come down with a truck to help us move a tree that had fallen from the storm out of the road.
Oh Jesus!
Like it is literally like that backwoods
Oh.
Southern West Virginia country as fuck. Like,
Wow.
and I'm just here like
Thoughts and
I want to
prayers.
drive through.
Thoughts and
Oh my
prayers.
God! Nope. Speaking of cows in the road, this actually is a great
Don't
segue
call my name.
because my tip tonight, I'm actually going to talk about taking up space.
Oh my
And I think
God.
this is something that I think people sometimes
I
forget
gained
or
a
they don't
couple
think
pounds
about.
and you took it too far.
You're welcome. So here's the thing. Everybody takes up
Even me?
space in one way or another, either literally or figuratively. And it's not the taking up space that can potentially be the issue. It's where we take up space and being mindful of the spaces that we take up.
Mm.
Some of you are probably going, what the fuck does that even mean? Let me
That was so
so
mindful. I loved it.
so as as a medically transitioning trans man, I identify as a man. Therefore, I am hesitant to take up space in places that are typically reserved for women. I am
Why is that?
mindful. So, if
Is that hard to explain right now, or do I need to wait for you to explain the
give me
rest?
a second. I'll kind of so
Okay.
just give me a second.
Mm.
I'm mindful of my male privilege and understand that my presence may make women uncomfortable. Not because of anything I personally have done, but because of the shitty reputation that men generally have, thanks to asshole cisgender men.
In the
It
good
is what
Hey,
it
experiences
is.
that other
And
people have.
and I don't want to hear a single but not all men. No, we're not going to not all men this. This is something that is a
I did
thing.
not say that. I just said, "Hey."
I'm speaking to the people at large. Just no.
Oh,
We are not gonna not all men this. This is,
we're not gonna go Facebook commenting
Oh
that's
god,
in
we're
the
not gonna
world.
we're
argue
false.
about that. This is a thing, whatever. And I will never use my trans status to try and get like a pass. It's like, oh, well, it's okay if I'm here because I used to be a girl or whatever. It's like, no, 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 no,
Oh,
no. No, that's not how that works. Um, I see all the fucking time, I see cishet people complain when they get told that they don't belong in queer spaces. And I don't necessarily believe that they don't belong per se, but they do
hmm.
need to remember that in queer spaces, they're the guests. We are allowing them into our safe spaces. And especially now,
Say it again for the people that are
we
in the
are allowing
bachelorette party.
them into our safe spaces.
Mhm.
And especially now with the constant threat of violence, if we let you into our space, you do not get to complain if there are people that take issue with it. Because right now and more than ever, our safety, our very lives are at risk
In
every time we
jeopardy.
go into a bar, anytime we go into a club, anytime we go into a space that is predominantly queer. We have no idea. We may not make it
Mhm.
out of there. And 100% of the people that have shot up gay people, killed trans people, whatever, they have all been cisgender heterosexual individuals. And no, I don't buy the bullshit with this other dude now being non-binary. That's a bunch of horse shit. We talked about it last week. Horse shit. He's trying to get out of a hate crime. Horse shit. So,
Which wouldn't even work anyway because it would still be like, you
right,
know,
still a fucking hate crime. Not how that works. So
Mhm.
that's you when you are a guest in a space, you conduct yourself accordingly. And it honestly doesn't matter how you identify. There are some spaces that may not be for you. And that's okay. It
Is
is.
this
It's
like
okay.
is
I
this like
think
when
that.
we say
Sorry.
is this like when we say to allies, "Okay, be here, but don't, like, don't take over."
Right. It's like think like the bachelorette parties or whatever the fuck that come into these bars and just take the fuck over. They're drunk, they're loud, they're obnoxious, they get on stage and then they get mad when people are like, "No, you got to go."
I think one of the best parts, like the ways that I've started to think about this too, and like the same conversation, because sometimes like it's a little less tangible when we talk about spaces like this. But imagine like you're invited to somebody's house for dinner and like you're all hanging out in the living room. That doesn't give you permission to like, let's say, go into their bedroom and
Right.
start messing with
Mhm.
their stuff. Or
That's
like
not,
you're
right.
not, like that's
You are a
you have this
guest, you conduct yourself accordingly. And like if you're let into those spaces, you need to understand that you are a guest there. And it could be a bridal or a baby shower. Those are places that are traditionally reserved for women. Almost always. It's a little more lax these days. People are
Oh my god, I
inviting,
get invited to
you
so
know,
many baby showers.
eh. But again, it's often there are places that are traditionally geared towards women.
Mhm.
So if you are someone who is more masculine, if you're someone who identifies as male, if you're someone who is very much a man and you get invited to a place like that, you don't get to go in there and try to take shit
Yeah,
over.
bro.
That's not how that works.
Mhm.
Same whether it's a queer bar, it could be a leather bar. If you are not someone who is in the leather scene, if you are not someone, Felicia, you're all out of focus. If you are not someone
Yay! It must be my
who
nose again.
is, you know,
There we
in
go.
the kink scene or anything like that, and you go into a space, if you go into a leather bar, if you go into a kink party, if you go someplace like that and you are not kinky, if you are not leather, you don't get to try and come in there and be offended because, oh my god, there's somebody on a cross getting flogged. No,
Ooh,
that's not
where?
that this doesn't fucking matter. Like you're in their space. This is their bubble. But at the same
I'm here for
token,
the action.
if you
Mhm.
allow those guests into your space, that doesn't also give you license to be misogynistic, transphobic, or whatever just because you can. For example, there's a certain bar here that caters primarily to gay men. They like them young, they like them hot, they don't care for women, they don't care for trans folks, and they've made that very clear in their treatment of them.
And
Which
sometimes they don't like the feminine boys.
no, they don't. They want them masculine, they want them young, they want them hot. That's, you know, which is
I
bullshit. It's
watched
like, all
like
right,
Teen
fine, you have a
Status a long
type,
time
but
ago.
don't be a dick because nobody is going in there to try and like, you know, it's a gay bar. So the people that are going in, if they happen to be straight women, they're usually there with a gay buddy or whatever. They just want to go and dance. Or maybe they're lesbians, or maybe they're trans men, or
Oh
maybe
my
they're slightly effeminate gay boys.
oh my
It doesn't
god.
you don't you don't get to just be a dick because you can. Like that's not how that works either. But I see I
So
see
we have queer people that are not allowing queer people to take up space? Is
And I
mhm.
that
mean,
what you just
that's
said?
shocker, right? Like, you know,
Right, because they're not the right kind of queer people, you know.
right.
Oh my
But
goodness.
I also see, and this so, and this is something that drives me crazy, and I see it with trans folks,
Mm.
and I see it especially with trans folks who are maybe fairly new in their transition. Their name and gender marker hasn't been changed. They've been very vocal online about, no, no, I identify as a man or I identify as a woman. Full stop. You must use these pronouns and this name. Anything else is misgendering and whatever. Excellent. But then they use the fact that their name and gender marker has not been changed to sort of flip flop and go into spaces that it's like, no.
What?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
there's I think there's a good example of it. I saw this at a in a DC thing, and it was a lady, like a girls get in free kind of night. It's very clearly somebody who has done this, but again, use that sort of, oh well, it's on this ID, so I can get away with it.
Right. It's like
Oh.
Yeah,
yeah, oh yeah, no, it's a thing. Um, goes for competitions, it goes for, you know, whatever. If you are very vocal about this is my identity, this is who I
Mhm.
am, it's not fair to then flip-flop and say, "Oh, well, but this hasn't been changed yet, so it's okay if I'm here." Is it
yeah,
though? Because now you're taking advantage of the situation.
and using like different identities as identities as currency in a way, like,
Right. And
and
that's
it's
right. And that's, you know, again, it has to do with taking up space. Is this a
Yeah.
space for you? Is this some place where you should be taking up space? Because if it's not, let somebody else do it. Back off. And you know, when it comes to like this is something that I've talked about when talking about like my transition is recognizing how different it is being a cis assumed trans individual. I have to
Mm.
acknowledge and I have to recognize my male privilege. It changed a lot of things. Like, okay, to be fair, generally people just assume that I'm a cisgender gay boy, but that's it. Even so, when it comes to women, regardless of whether they are trans or whether they are cisgender, when it
Mhm.
comes to women, in a lot of spaces, men make them uncomfortable. And it's as a lesbian, you don't think about it as another woman, you don't think about it. You can smile at another woman and, tell them that their outfit is cute or whatever. And but if you're sitting at a bar and you happen to catch somebody's eye and you just smile at them, immediately as a woman, you're like, what does he want?
I think you like really hit on an interesting point because I think that we roughly started transitioning around the same time, I think.
Mhm. Thereabouts.
And
That was 2014 for me.
oh, a
Ish.
couple years after me, yeah. But still, it's one of those things where at a certain point, as you're starting to transition and getting through that part where you're reliably passing in public, and even though you haven't changed your behavior yet, you start to notice different reactions than you would have gotten before. Where
Yep.
some of them you may feel are positive, like, oh well, people are like moving out of my way and they're not like running into me, like they're giving me this kind of respect, and then you realize that maybe
Oh.
it's intimidation and maybe it's fear and it's not respect,
Hmm.
and
You
maybe
know,
it's
you one
yeah.
of the things that I notice is like if I'm walking somewhere and it happens to be nighttime ish or whatever, if I'm walking from one place to another, if there's a woman in front of me or someone that I would assume to be a woman just based on clothing, et cetera, just assuming it's a woman in front of me, I will actually make it a point to either slow down and let them get further ahead of me, or I will speed up and pass them. Because I can tell you that there is very little that is more disconcerting than walking somewhere and knowing that there's a dude walking right behind you.
But isn't that also a society thing?
It
It all
is,
stems
but
from let boys be boys and girls be women.
right. Well, that's the thing. And but you from being on both sides of it, you kind of you're
Yes.
like, "Oh, I totally know how she's feeling and I've been
Mhm.
there. And I don't want some dude just walking behind me because I know that immediately like the anxiety level is like, ugh.
Yeah,
So
and that's
I will hang back. I will just speed up and pass and just keep going. Like I will make sure to do something that indicates that I am not a threat and just keep moving because I know, like I said, men have a shitty reputation because of assholes. And again, I am not going to be entertaining any of the not all men because yes, all
Well,
men, because not enough men call out the shitheads. So yes, all men. Just
and
leave it
there's
at that.
also not a single person or a single man that has been 100% perfect in every, like there's been something that you have done, like anybody's done, that has,
hmm.
even if you weren't aware of it, that's been something of that nature. And it's like, again, that huge realization for me that when I was first transitioning, coming out and like learning to take up more space and be proud of myself and learning to like, yes, assert myself. But at a certain point during that process, I had to hold that back because I was getting to be the kind of person I didn't want to be, even if
Mm.
the actions that I was um, taking and things that I was saying were completely the same as would have been
Well,
before.
that's
It being perceived differently just based on what people see.
right. And going and transitioning, you're always, you have to be a man. You have to men do this. Okay, but
What
why?
do they
I
do?
don't know. Yeah, things that people shouldn't be
Belch and
doing.
shoot things, I guess.
Oh my
Right.
gosh. Oh,
Bad times.
So,
I already grew up
just
with stuff like that. I don't. When people are like,
just
"You're
be
supposed to know
mindful
that."
of the
Mm-mm.
space that you take up
Uh,
because it
I can say that because I go walking in the evening, and there are women walking with like their children, and I know because my mom taught me this, that if you see a woman on the sidewalk, you walk opposite of her, or you walk on the like you walk in the street, not in the street, but you know what I'm saying. Um, and so I think it surprises some folks that I will go completely opposite of them instead of walking like through them or trying to figure out where they're going. I already know where you are, and I'm going to move out of your space and
Mm,
not be. that person.
Especially as a black man,
Yes, I already
because we have
know.
people that are calling cops on, like, 5-year-olds because,
Well, I live in a predominantly white neighborhood, so I already know. They already top of mind, okay, what does he want? What is he gonna do? And so I make it very clear over here, and I'm sure they can see my sassy little walk from far away, but I'm still a man and they see me and they go, I see the eyes. Don't think I don't see the eyes. I see the eyes. I see I'm like,
The
they
let's
change in
clutch
shut up.
their
body
purse a
language.
little bit closer.
If they have their purse while they're walking, they're not really doing it right. Mm, mm,
I mean, just white people.
no,
I don't.
no.
I don't
We're out
get
exercising and
That's the answer to
stuff.
so many. It's like this is when you don't know what to say at some point, you're just like white people because it's almost always true.
always.
I have a
I
friend.
mean,
They play Fortnite, and she works at a McDonald's in Middle West Virginia. And the end of the day, she is just what it's always the people, always the white people.
That's why I asked.
Complaining at that McDonald's.
They put eggs in the middle of their macaroni.
I have never, cream, like heavy cream, things like that. I don't know the mac and cheese, but I feel like every mac and cheese that I have had since I've been to Hell's Kitchen in Vegas has been absolute garbage ever since. I cannot eat mac and cheese
oh,
without
you
thinking
let
of
me
it.
know when you come out here. I'll make my mac and cheese for you. I got the seal of approval from literally everybody.
Okay, well, I mean,
I would let you eat that.
I have to text you first.
This white people knows how to cook and enjoys things like flavor and
I've actually
seasonings.
seen him looking for different seasonings and things, and then we go looking for them in different stores. He knows where they are.
Knowing
My
what
spice cabinet consists of the entire inside of my door on my pantry. I have like 8 shelves and about 15 like spices or so on each shelf. So
I
Yeah,
I think I need to book a flight,
hi Archie.
start preparing for at large, and come to
there,
your
I
house.
got you. I got you. I got you. You come on down. I got you.
Well, isn't it US of A's a requirement only like 200 or something?
Yeah,
We get
which
that.
I'm not that far off from it for these days. Like, it's fine. I got this.
Oh,
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 Archie, hi.
See, Dominic Von Strapp says that my shit's good. Yeah.
No.
See.
Do you put anything extra in it,
I can vouch.
or is there a
I can
secret?
vouch for this.
See.
I can
A
vouch.
mac and cheese showdown.
That's the name for one of your
Oh,
shows.
I'll
no.
have to do like a video or something and like do my
Oh,
mac
you
and
should
cheese.
subscribe to our Patreon.
Oh, I could do that, but then I won't get the views. I told my kid that if because one of my kids started
Speak
following
English.
me on
What?
my kid started following me on the TikTok,
On the
Oh,
and
I'm so sorry.
she got all huffy because she's like, "Oh my god, it was so awkward. You have like a thirst trap video on there," and I'm like, "I have a what?" It was the one with the red and white like demon look when I'm pulling the glove
Oh,
off with my teeth.
yes.
She's like, "It was so awkward." I'm like, "That's a thirst trap?"
That's
I'm like,
there's.
"Look, more
Oh,
power
honey.
to you if you think that's a thirst
Well,
trap. Like
wait,
you
how old is she?
13."
Okay, well, she doesn't have that level of thirst
Oh
trap.
no 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 no! Oh no 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 no! And then I was like, if you think that's a thirst trap, you should see what other people post. And she's like, oh, I know. And I'm like, wait! How do you
Hey,
know what other people are posting that are thirst traps?
gets the
And
dad
she's like,
boys
I've
out.
heard things. I've heard things. Oh, you've
Oh,
I've
heard
heard.
things.
Yeah. Someone told
does
me.
she
Uh-huh.
follow me? Does she follow
Uh-huh.
me? I'm just
I
kidding.
I don't. Are yours appropriate? I don't know. I have 50 followers
No,
on the TikTok now, but I told her that on
I
the
can't.
Instagram, I have a video that has like 3,200 views. So I'm like totally a virus. I'm so viral that you need penicillin.
Actually, the one that I
What?
posted
Well,
of you
antibiotics
was
kill it.
16,000 something. So,
Jesus. I-
I feel like
Speaking of going viruses, Elon Musk has officially taken over Twitter. Yippee. Right off the bat, he purged about half of Twitter's employees and about 5,500 of Twitter's contractors. He's also getting rid of anybody who criticizes him in public or in private. Sound familiar? Uh,
Mm.
Oh, I'm
he
still on
actually
there.
sent out a Google form. Employees must select yes to being hardcore, which basically means long, high intensity days. And also, Twitter no
Oh,
longer has
I thought you were gonna
communications
say
support.
something else.
Yeah. So
Ah.
yeah, Twitter no longer has a communications department. So if the press is looking for comment, they don't they don't have an app for that.
He did that on purpose.
Yeah. I mean, nobody has deleted my account yet, and I said that his face looks like someone put a
I did
dollar
see
store
that.
advent candle in a toaster. The melted wax, like that's gonna be my contribution to Twitter. Is during this holiday season, every day next month, I'm going to make a Christmas joke about his face.
Oh,
Fantastic.
Yeah,
See how long
okay.
it
I look
takes them
forward to this.
yeah.
to boot you.
I need some ideas though. That's I'm ready.
Oh,
Gonna
That was it.
you
ban you
need
for hate
ideas?
speech.
Oh.
So if you'd like to send suggestions of things that his face looks like, I'd be happy to look through those.
Oh, I'm sure we can.
Oh, don't get us started. Oh my gosh.
I'm
I
gonna get
love
in so much trouble.
memes. Okay.
Mm.
Let me go ahead. You go ahead. Well,
A Another interesting bit of news that I happened to see randomly. A person who was missing for 51 years was actually found thanks to a DNA match on 23andMe. She
oh,
was
how
kidnapped by her
creepy.
babysitter in 1971. Ugh. Um, Her parents are actually still alive, so they were all like reunited.
Whoa.
Oh,
Right?
Can you imagine thinking that your baby is gone and then,
it-
like, bitch, there
Bam.
you are. I
Yeah,
just took a swab and now you're at my front door.
right.
Uh,
50 fucking 1 years. 51 years later.
because
oh
not
my
only have you gone through
gosh.
that grieving process, you've already processed many years. Like you have not even really even like. But then that probably all comes back when you reunite with them, and like,
Oh
oh
Right.
my
my
god,
gosh.
that is
Can you
like a
imagine
TV
the therapy
special.
session that's going on there? Just I thought my daughter was dead. And
Or
now she's at
well,
my front door. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Um, yikes.
that is a
Wow.
literal pearl clutching fainting moment. Like, yeah,
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Fainting
Shit's
moments, not short of these. Speaking of Elon Musk, Trump's tax returns are set to land before a Democratic led House committee after a loss with the Supreme Court. Sorry. This is serious business. And in October 2023, that's so far away,
I know.
date has been set for the New York case, fraud case. Fraud case. Hey, who wrote this? Anyway,
Fuck you.
I think it's funny that his 3 kids, testified for January 6th, and they have all or most of them had decided, "No, no, we're not gonna be a part of his cabinet this time. No, no. No, no."
yeah, like
Um,
swipe.
they they are I think they got a bit of a taste, and they keep
I'm
seeing
just excited that the fraud case actually is going to land right before the Republican primary season.
so am I. I wish
I
it
mean,
was
you have to
sooner.
think that that was a little bit planned, right? Like,
I'm
I can't
hoping that
say.
it happens, that it gets tied up, and then he's going to be ineligible to even throw his hat. I want him done. I want him fucking done, and I'm hoping that this does it because
Where are we with the January 6th case?
I have no
'Cause
idea at
isn't
this
he
point.
being charged for that too?
I know
Yeah,
so. I did see someone is just got charged with something like today. I forgot who it was in this one of his
Oh
people.
my goodness.
So I did not see who it was.
I, the thing that bothers me the most that everybody around him is like, "Oh my god, hands off. Oh my god, hands off. Oh my god, hands off."
Yeah,
it's
it
the
is
But
like,
rats
he's
jumping the
still
sinking ship.
oh my gosh.
and I
Nope.
think that's such an interesting thing too, because you've got this whole thing with Ron DeSantis and the thing between the two of them that's going to be like one camp on that side and one on the other side, and you're just sitting over here with your popcorn watching that implode, and hopefully that they take care of themselves. But it doesn't
I
mean
wanna put this out for the American people. Do not elect Kanye West.
Oh, for fuck's sake,
my
Jesus
God.
Christ!
I just
Don't tell me that that's not possible because we just
Oh
elected.
no, I'm not even at this point. Nothing's impossible.
Just saying.
like
He's gonna make it mandatory for everybody to wear his clothing.
I mean,
We'll all
yikes.
be like, it'll be like one
Sweatpants
giant
every
like
day.
internment camp, and everybody in the country is going to be issued
And
his
his shoes.
sweatpants and shoes and
it's
White
just
Lives Matter t-shirts.
Oh, ooh,
yeah,
whoa,
no.
my soul almost came out.
I know.
Wait a minute.
But
Searches for gotta get
on
that
to
passport.
bigger and better things. Now we actually get to talk to someone that is a little bit less of a hot mess than we usually are.
They
Dylan
don't know me
B.
that well, apparently.
Dickherson White. He is Mr. Trans USA 2022. So
And has the
tell us
longest name in
about yourself.
history.
How long have you been doing drag? What have you done besides the Trans USA pageant? Like, tell us about
Who
you. We
are
want to hear about
you? How
you.
did you get here?
Who are
Well,
you?
I see. I'm a Leo. No. So most people don't. I thought this is a dating profile now, apparently.
Oh,
Oh,
that's fine.
wow.
Whatever.
You
Mhm.
know. So I've been my name. We talked about my name like a little bit earlier. That it's crazy long. It used to just be Dylan Dickherson. And I've been doing drag and performance and things like that for about 15 years or so. And the B comes from two different drag families, Brown and Bottoms, and then of course White, being Sabrina White, my adopted mother. Love her, miss her. But outside of all of this, I am a medical editor and writer. I do that by contract, and I use a lot of graphic design. I'm really just kind of like having my hats in a lot of different things, a
I
lot of
have no
nonprofit
idea
work.
what that's like.
Yeah, Felicia knows
I
nothing about that.
No, people always message me like and it's hard because, or they'll try to call me, and like you have to message me first because I'm almost always going to be in some kind of meeting because the company I work for is based in India, and it's the weirdest hours I'm in meetings, and then it's been back and forth with that. So
Mm.
with Trans USA though, it was really different for me. So this pageant being not a drag pageant and finding out how I had to like present myself and who I was, outside of that. Because
Mhm.
whenever we get into, even in this, a conversation where we're all drag performers, it's you want to start talking about your drag and your work in the community in that respect. But how if I didn't have that to rely on or fall back on, what was I going to be able to say? And that was like the hardest part of it for me. I knew what to do on stage, I knew everything like that, but really putting myself in like, oh, I am this person. And so what I
You're
described
a
to them,
person?
right? I am this person, not,
So,
you know,
since
yeah.
you brought that up,
Okay, yeah. Let's
since
go
you
there.
opened that door,
Wide open.
so
Do I need these
I mean,
again?
this is something we've
No.
actually chatted about, is the confusion about whether it's a drag pageant or whether it's a Muggle pageant, because everybody that competes seems to compete as a drag persona. Everybody competes as their drag name. Nobody competes as themselves, it seems like, unless I'm missing something. Um, and like it, like you said, there's a difference between a drag pageant and a Muggle pageant, but
Could it be
it
both?
seems like things are a little blurry.
And I think I definitely can address that too, because it's not like I understand some of that concern, and that was a lot of when we see the people who have won, all being people who have been performing for a long time, and I think that honestly has more to do with the experience that they have in pageantry in general, and knowing
Right.
what's scored and knowing what people look for. And I'll get to like how I'm kind of working on that in a minute, but the thing for me was for me personally, I chose to use my public name, my public persona, rather than being just a drag name. It's more of that public persona. Whereas even Lady Gaga, when she's not on stage, is referred to as Lady Gaga, like most of the time.
Right.
Even when
And
going
we
to like,
still call each other Freddie and Felicia.
right, it's people know me by that name, and I felt that that was a better way for me to just
Hi,
increase visibility
Jericho.
in a couple different ways. And not everyone chose to compete under a stage name. They chose their Muggle names. I mean, I feel like it's a weird word to use now with the whole like
Eh,
JK Rowling thing, but it's
Fuck her.
is what it is. But no, and I think that some of that also has to do with, yes, this is a pageant for you as a real person, as you want to represent out there in the community, doing your own work as yourself and not your drag persona. But a lot of us also do work with our drag personas. We also, that is a part of our advocacy. That's part of what we do, but it's not what
Mm.
part of what everybody does.
Right.
And there's different ways we can go about doing that in the community. As much as I'm on stage doing things, I'm also like working behind the scenes with a lot of stuff and doing things as far as
Mhm.
speaking and just like doing panels. So it's a little bit of both. And as far as the on stage, like the blurred lines, some of that I also think has to do with our community blurs lines all the time, and fashion has been blurring lines all the time.
Right.
So it's becoming more and more drag, even like standard fashion, more rhinestones, more like glam in things that we would see. So that's some of the things when we're talking about outfits, especially in the state costume. Whereas if you've seen even the Miss USA
Right.
pageant recently, a lot of those get pretty big and rhinestones, and they're pretty grandiose. And that might be the closest category to like drag. And it's really that let's show out whatever you want to, and it can be a big costume, it could be something small and creative. But I think that that is where people if they are in that sort of side of things in drag, that's where they can show that. But other categories, you're really not looking for that, gown that weighs 400 pounds, that and the makeup that you can see from 6 like blocks away.
Right.
It's really like, how would you present yourself as at a red carpet gala or Met Gala, something like that, like, or doing a charity engagement in an official formal capacity. So that would be that. But I think that overall there are a lot of blurred lines there. One, because people in the community who are interested in pageantry are often interested in performing, not always. And I think that two, that these things are becoming even more blurred in pageants that are not within the LGBTQ community.
Right. That makes
So
sense.
that's the thing. But how I've tried to like address that is knowing that my reach in certain areas and certain spheres on Facebook is very limited to a lot of performance, because it's the community I know most. So it was really a lot of learning how to navigate other platforms and doing more marketing on Instagram and with TikTok, because those are a lot of the influencers and people who do a lot of work in the community that have nothing to do with performing. They're active there. We have like these trans influencers that have like 40,000 followers, or even people that follow them that can see stuff about the pageant. So we have so many people this year that have never even stepped on a stage in their lives before.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, and I think that my goal has been to do sessions with people and make sure that even if you've never been in pageant before, you're going to be prepared and have that same knowledge of what to do as somebody who's been there before. Because it's not like,
Mm.
I don't want the only reason for somebody to win to because that they've just done it before, like, and like, it doesn't seem fair to me that not giving people that information.
No,
So
absolutely. That's everybody needs to be on the same even playing field. Like that's. So tell us a little bit about the pageant itself. Like there's no like how does it work? There's no prelims. Like people like pay a fee to represent their state and compete. Like why is that going to continue? Are there gonna be like qualifying prelims down the road, do you think? Like how is this gonna, how does it do?
how did it do? No, I think that was something that we talked about a lot after I went and was like, hey, since this is really getting to be bigger and
Mhm.
bigger every time, this is going to happen at some point, and we'd really like to start implementing the prelims. And we talked about it so many times, but this year we really wanted to gauge, okay, now that we have this momentum, let's see how this does work, and we have this different structure, because we didn't
Mhm.
want to implement any prelims when we had changed certain things about the way things are scored, and this changed some like descriptions in the categories. We want to see this worked out at the national level with the national judges and people putting that out there and really like getting that locked down on that level before we start telling people in different states what they need to be doing as far as promoting and prelims. But they
So
are
what are the categories?
of course
Oh yeah.
there's the personal interview, which is more of a it's the toughest pageant interview I've ever undertaken. It is 10 minutes long,
Oh my
and
goodness.
yep, and it's individual with the panel. And there were questions that, let's say, a lot of people may not be asked in a typical pageant. I can tell you that there were some of the standard questions that we know about promoting and prelims and representing the title. But after I was asked to introduce myself, the second question I got was, so how would you handle the far-right extremism facing the trans community today in this country?
Whoa.
And it is really a pageant that is absolutely about being a representative and being able to not only be visible for the community, but actually speak on things that matter, and being knowledgeable enough to, even if you don't know the answer to something, knowing how to go about getting that answer.
Right.
And so
Okay.
a lot of times that the other pageants stray away from actual issues because it's more about the onstage, the arts, that business side of it. But being a pageant that's focused on advocacy, you really do have to be knowledgeable about what's going on. And so that's like one of there's two categories with the highest point total. That is one of them. The other being formal or gown. So, and it's the one that I was most nervous about because, again, I couldn't rely on all this drag experience before. I had to really put work into an actual platform and knowing what I wanted to do, even though that you're not really required to do a platform. It just helped me try to refocus on what I wanted my reign to be like if I were to win, and what I wanted the system to like grow into should I have an opportunity to help with that. So
That's okay.
second,
So you've got professional interview, you've got formal,
state costume.
state costume.
What is that?
So the easiest way that I can think of this is a lot of regular standard pageants out there do have their state costume. I know Miss USA just did, but we also have pageants like AAG and Universal Latino and all of these that do have like a creative costume category. And it's kind of a play on that, but just with the specific state you're representing. And it can be a big thing, it can be a small thing, but the creativity and how you explain it is something that is really important. And I chose for mine, just to give an example, to go a little bit more on the creative side. I don't know if you've seen, there's that picture of me. It's in the bodysuit with all the glowing lights and the back piece.
Yep.
So that was my state costume. And in the bottom part you're not seeing is that the boots were made with, I made them myself out of like cosplay foam and molded everything with coal. So it started out as the costume is supposed to represent the transition of Pennsylvania from an industrial sort of coal age to a more technology-based sector, because they have the #1 robotics school in the world, and they do a lot of integrated Carnegie Mellon, I think, at this point, yes. Mm-hmm. So it's really like going beyond something. Like my other idea was being a giant pierogi with a pierogi showman back piece.
Yeah. When is that costume debuting?
Everyone has said that it might just happen. There's a pierogi festival in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of them in Pennsylvania. I might just show up.
If I ever compete, I'm going to come out as a taco.
You know what? I would love that.
Yikes.
There's a lot of jokes
Arizona,
there. I feel like
this is like, we have lots of Mexican. Or, I mean, if I want to really represent our state, I can just come out as a.
You were going to say it. Just say it.
I can just come out as a line of shipping containers across the border.
Oh my God. On a similar note, well, there was a part of the piece that was a little unstable because I did have to finish some of it in the hotel room. So if it were to fall apart on stage, all I was going to say is, as you can see that this costume is like most construction projects in Pennsylvania, it's held together with duct tape and a prayer, and it never works out as planned. I am sure you've seen all the bridges collapsing in Pittsburgh and buses falling into sinkholes. But
I mean,
or I could come out as just a giant like orange traffic cone, because all of our streets always seem to be under construction.
I think that's every state. I think there's always something going on, and it doesn't matter which state you live in.
But you see all the cones, but you never see anyone actually working on it.
No, the streets are always closed. It doesn't matter what time of day you drive through. You're like, why?
Do you all have the freeway is closed and you see nobody there?
You know, in Pennsylvania, and DC, there's so many different roads and so many ways to get anywhere, and there's always people everywhere. So if something's closed, I'm not even sure, because I'm pretty sure people will just drive right through it anyway. Or Maryland side anyway. There's a reason insurance in Maryland is like twice what it is in Virginia.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Scary thoughts. Oh my god. Thoughts and
Because
prayers.
we have like freeway closures all the time, but I never actually see anybody working on the freeways ever.
Or you
And
like
so isn't
you drive the overpass and you see like nothing happening.
Nothing, no. Like you, and again, it doesn't matter what time of day. There's always just nobody ever working, and I'm like,
Or
what
by my
is
house, it seems to happen like one lane is closed and then you drive by it and you're like, well, what are
for
they?
what? Did you just
what,
get
what are
bored
you
and throw
actually
some
doing?
cones down? Like it's okay, cool, good for
I
you.
wonder how much the guy who sits in the back of the truck and puts the cones down as they're moving gets paid, by the way.
Right? I wonder if I could just have that job. Or I just
Maybe it's his fault. Maybe it's his fault. And he's just like, you know what? Let's play with these fuckers.
I'm gonna fuck with these people. We're just gonna put the cones
They
down.
complained
Drive,
that the
motherfucker,
freeway was closed
drive.
last week. They complained the freeway was closed last week. I'm gonna close it anyway.
Right.
They have the power
So
to mess with people's commute.
right. It's all, ha, ha, ha. So one other thing that we have chatted before about before that I would love for you to address because it's something that I think is important to talk about, and that is that in the past folks have raised concerns, I want to say, about the system seeming sort of elitist and privileged, and like they want their winners to be younger and fit and have had surgeries and are white, and you know,
Oh.
etc. Which I mean, we all know when it comes to the trans experience,
It's not. Yeah.
that's not how that goes. Like that's
Mhm.
I like just speaking for myself, like I am neither young, I am not fit. I've had my
Oh.
surgeries, but Lord knows they don't look quite the way they did when I had it done because I put on 50 pounds since then. So it's like it's we know that for most trans folks, surgeries and things can be expensive and hard to get, especially if you don't have insurance. And just looking at sort of the last three winners and things, it does seem to have that reputation. So as the current title holder, what what are you doing to make sure that the system is more diverse and inclusive of all body types regardless of surgeries,
Dang.
race, etc.?
You went
Oh
on a
yeah,
Yeah.
very intricate
He's like
I
a
don't
question.
jungle
play. You
bunny.
know that.
Wow.
I'm gonna ask the
No,
good questions.
he
Oh.
told me this too. He told me he was going to talk about it.
I
And
did. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh my
I gave
actually
him a
have
heads
no.
up. I'm not gonna
I have no
blindside
Sliding.
him. Like,
I mean, I've got,
Sliding.
and the thing is, like, some people do, and it's a fair question, and I think that it's a tricky line because we're at that point. Well, there's only been three of us, but it has been pretty. So I do want to say that Eddie is Jewish, so
oh, I
white
know.
passed obviously, but like it appears obviously that's the same thing.
Right.
But it's something that I saw too, and I was worried about even when I won because I looked at the pictures, and I mean, the three of us kind of look a lot alike too. That's like we really do, and I think that it was something that knowing when I won to see that, even though that was not something that people may have been conscious of, and it's very specifically stated that we do not judge on body type in any way for any of the categories, and even on the miss side, like there's been a lot of diversity in that. It's like our current miss is I think 51 or 2. Don't let her know I said that. Um, it's but
I already sent the email. I'm so
yeah, I
sorry.
am gonna get a nasty message. No, it's something that I see in like I'm conscious of. Like you said, it's similar to the taking up space kind of idea. Like, is that type and that taking up so much space that there's not room for others? And I never wanted that to be something that kept going through there. So a lot of my efforts have been to look in places where people wouldn't look and to really focus on people that are really representative of different aspects of the community and doing that outreach to find these people that are doing the work and are capable of doing the job. And it's like I don't have to go out there and chase down the young, attractive conventionally attractive white trans boys that are in the gym, they will find it. And I do message some of them, but I have spent a lot of time focusing on outside of my own comfort zone, outside of my bubble, and really like trying to find people that like are interested and maybe afraid, because of that perception, and trying to say that that's not the case. And I think that another big thing that people may want to know is that I actually have quite a few physical disabilities. I am autistic, and I don't think that any of those things, like even though they're not visible to that, I think that knowing that the pageant system itself is completely accepting of that and understanding, and there was never anything on there about any of those issues. So not only do we have contestants this year ranging in age from I think 21 or 22 to hope maybe 60 some, different body types, different abilities. That we have an accessible venue now, so that's really good.
Nice.
And I think that making the venue more accessible, showcasing the new photos of the people we have who are contestants already, and people seeing that they look like me, I can do this too. And that's like my side of it with the contestants, but there's also another side of it working on is really coaching the judges on what's different about this pageant. This is not, and I not say anything bad about this, but it's not the continental sort of thing where you have to have a fitness model type of body, or you have to, like there's nothing about that. There's really no reason that we shouldn't have winners of all different types going forward. And I think that some of the changes we made to the swimsuit category this year are really going to help people understand that it's not about specific body types, especially people who have not had top surgery, because there was an instance last year that there was one contestant who had not had top surgery, and the rules had stated in the past that like a very small black swim crop top would be required for that. And he expressed to me, and even we were all like, that's pretty invalidating. And it was really from the original rules written by somebody who was on the trans feminine side, who didn't really understand how much of an impact that would have had.
Right.
And we all immediately, that was the first rule that got changed. So on that side of it, any type of coverage is going to be acceptable, as long as like it is like the legal the bounds are covered, and it's not just one type of swimsuit. The Speedo cuts are allowed, the square cuts are allowed, and even the full binder underworks.
So, question then, if like, we're talking about bodies and body types and things like that, why even have a swimsuit category? Like, what are you looking for in a swimsuit category? Because traditionally, swimsuit categories are who looks hottest in this swimsuit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
why do traditional pageants have it in the first place?
I think that they have it for that reason, but I think our reason is a little different. I had never done a swimsuit category before, and this is kind of like leading into my answer. And to have that room full of people, no matter who was on that stage, cheer for you and scream for you and make you feel like sexy and confident. And I think that it's more for us having that experience together and all of us being afraid of it, but coming off that stage feeling like it was the most fun category and just having fun with it. But on the other side of it, letting the world out there see that these are what trans bodies look like. They are sexy, they are beautiful, and this is just as glamorous and amazing, and no matter what body type. Because if we really do restrict a swimsuit category, like if we take it away and say we can't do that, we're already feeding into that notion that, oh, our bodies aren't fit for that. They're not good enough for that. Right. So I think that it's important to keep it.
I have a question for maybe the both of you. Can you explain why that's so important? Because I don't think that everybody understands that moment of validation, of clarity almost. Because I remember when Freddie first went shirtless, and that was like a thing, and like I feel like I want to cry. But can you explain what the validation, the feeling behind that, so that people understand?
Do you want to go first? Do you want me?
I can touch on it a little bit real quick. So we in in trans circles, especially when we're educating and folks when they Google and whatever, the thing that comes up a lot is gender dysphoria. We struggle with feeling like we are in the right body,
Mhm.
um but for trans folks, I think when regardless of whether we've had surgery or not, if we are in a safe space and we can wear swim trunks with either nothing on top or maybe even just a binder or some sort of pasty type thing, whatever, regardless, instead of the gender dysphoria, we end up with gender euphoria. And it's that just that moment of feeling comfortable and not having to worry about judgment and just feeling free. And this is, again, regardless of whether we've had surgery or not. It's that moment of, fuck, I can take my shirt off, or I can go out in my swim trunks, or I'm wearing a swimsuit that is a binder as well, and it looks like a rash guard shirt, and I don't have to worry about people going, ooh, what the fuck? Like, it's just that moment where you can go out and feel comfortable and free and authentic and not have to worry about I have to wear 16 t-shirts, or I don't want to go in the pool. I'm just going to sit here and dangle my feet, and we're just going to
Yeah, and like it's that weightlessness, like that you're finally like you just put down all of that weight, and like I have to put it in a different way too, because I don't think there was a lot of, for me, dysphoria, I would say, about like gender wise. It was always about like my body just, and even before I understood, it was just my body wasn't muscular enough to me, and I never really got that sense of such deep despair with not looking the way I wanted to or not having it. But once I started to go into that the other realm of possibility, there was that shift from a neutral, like almost ignoring that my body even existed,
Mm.
like really not even connecting with it, to being on the other side where I am finally capable of feeling like a complete person in this body and not separate from it. And I think that for me, I still have had struggles with, even after top surgery, like really feeling comfortable with how my body has changed with the illnesses and everything. But there's still that moment. And I think that was a huge part of it for me too, is that I don't look like I used to. And being in swimsuit category was like, and it's the personal, like, I see it and I
Listen.
know it's kind of bullshit to a lot of people, but like it is something that it hit me, and being able to do it and still have that feeling. And because there's not a lot of spaces even still that we can go, like, even though there are images out there, there's a lot of people who are still afraid to like even be in a swimsuit at the pool or at the
It's because a
beach.
lot of the images that are out there are of young, hot, traditionally, conventionally attractive, fit, whatever. Look, I am 43 fucking years old. I have a dad bod. I am fuzzy as fuck. I am not smooth. I am not, like I have a dad bod. That's what
Right.
I have seen
And so,
people
like,
go
I wanted to
crazy for
go
the
back
dad
to like
bod, though.
what you asked about what's it scored on, since it's not like body type. Like, really, your modeling and your confidence in it. Are you having a good time? Like, are you scared to be up there, or are you really showing them like, this is my body and I love it, and you're gonna love it too? Like, and I think that that's a huge part of it. The quality of the suit and the fit of it. So, is it something that you like? Obviously, has strings hanging off it, so it's this typical like of the garment. Does it fit you, like, or is it like really like
He
20
knows
sizes too
nothing
small?
about
Like,
that. He knows nothing like that. He knows nothing
so
about that.
but there's really nothing in there. And it's very specifically stated and bolded, underlined, nothing about body types. That's even in the gown and formal categories too. Nothing about your body type. And the part of that being like making sure the judges too understand, because it's that thing that a lot of people, when they look at trans bodies and a lot of people, other pageants that have welcomed trans people in, they're still looking for that. It's got to be this perfect, like, cis normative, like you got to look just like everybody. And like, I am not here, and we're not here to make our bodies fit for cis consumption. They're going to see real trans bodies, all different
Right.
types. And that's the point of the category. And that's why it's important to have it. Like,
So I have I have a question. So I know that you and Freddie discussed that diversity. And as a person of color, I don't know all the efforts that go into this this pageant. So I had this problem when I was younger. When I looked at the TV, knew what white people look like. I, like representation was very important to to me because if I saw somebody that looked like me, it was like, okay, what do they look like? How are they acting? And is that me? Or I mean, because we all learn from the mainstream media. If I am a person of color going through transition and looking to get into this pageant and I see you all, how do you change my mind to know that I fit into this pageant? Because I tell you all the time, not you, but I tell folks all the time that representation matters. And when I see, like, if somebody asks me to perform in a show or uh, they want me to run for a pageant, um, I look at things like photos. I look at things like watching the pageant and then going, well, I only saw 5 black girls in there. Um, how do you get people like me to come to you?
And I think that that's another like really important. You may not, like you said, you may not reach out at first because if you don't see anyone that looks like you out there, and I think that that might have been some of the things that had happened on our side with the guys, because there was one person of color who had run last year out of all of us, and I think that for me, in addition to what I can do to reach out, I need to go to the people that are involved with the system that would know more than I would, because like I honestly don't have a lot of the experience that you girls do and like guys do, that there may be questions I can't answer, but I'd have to sit down and with that person, because my first alternate, Javon, is a
Mhm,
person of color, and he we really rely on like this community of people who have different experiences. Like, what can I do to reach people that
mhm.
I may not be thinking of, and what can we do? So that would be the one side of it, on the outreach part of like letting the people who actually are involved with these communities and are the representative of these communities, like not making myself the center of that conversation, you
Mm.
know. And I think reaching out to people and paying them for their time and experience and helping. I really kind of believe in that. And the other side of that too is approaching it, once we do connect with one another, there needs to be two sides of it. Someone there to help break that mold and break into the and make sure that people don't think that that's what this is, that it's very
Mhm,
exclusive and restrictive. And there needs to be, as soon as we have that conversation, me going to the other side and us going to the judges and being like, okay, any biases you have, we need to squash that crap right now.
mhm.
Like, and it's something that I've seen with a lot of pageants. People kind of get turned off because some judges are very, they
I
have
get
those
turned off
implicit.
by the judges that judge people of color for not looking Western.
Yeah,
So,
that's the thing is, and I think that when picking our judges, we've really talked about, having me in the conversation with it, really making sure that just winning a national title or just, it doesn't qualify you to really be a judge, just that. And there's got to be a lot more to
mhm,
it. There's been some ideas floating around about even asking people like, what makes you qualified to judge this pageant? Like doing the opposite side,
mm,
like almost like having
interviewing
people
the
apply.
judges.
Yeah. And like really honing that down. And I think that making sure also the panel is diverse enough and that the head judge knows all of these different things. Your head judge really should know any of these different like factors that like all the aspects of diversity that you would find in other pageants that have been problems. Like, you should have that knowledge. Like, this has come up in other pageants before. Let's talk about this as judges. Let's go through our session at first and make sure that this isn't a factor, because I think that those are the big things that always turn, like, you have a diverse group of contestants maybe one year, and then a judges panel will do these implicit bias sort of things, and then for the next several years you don't get anyone from different communities, and it's all this homogenous group of people. And I just think that it's got to be on all fronts. It's got to be the title holders and the promoters and the judges really expanding past that bubble. And I really have been trying to do a lot of listening this year because, as you can see, I ramble a lot. And it's
No, you? Oh
no,
no.
never. I'm either like completely quiet and don't say anything, or
You don't ramble, you're thorough.
it's that whole like
Detailed.
neurodivergent
Detailed.
brain thing. But
Detailed.
no, people
So
always talk to me about
where can folks find you online? Where can they follow you to get information? Just follow you. Where can they follow you to get information on the pageant? All the things.
Oh, it's popping up right down there.
Look at that.
The Instagram there,
Who
Mr.
did that? Oh my
USA
god.
22, and then on Facebook, of course, I've been trying to fight with them. You can find me by searching for Dylan B. Dickherson White or Dylan Joseph, which is how it's stuck there because they don't believe me when I try to change it. But and so anything else, I really kind of just stick to those two right now. I have a TikTok. I forget what it even is. I started it during COVID because I was super bored, and there's some terrible videos on there.
Oh,
I have 50
wonderful.
followers on the TikTok.
Oh, you guys are working on it, huh?
Right. I need to like get with a TikTok expert, so I'm gonna find somebody that's 15 years younger than I am, basically. But no, those are the two main
Whoa,
ways.
that was
Not
offensive.
what did I do?
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Really, I am.
No, I have like I feel like again, sometimes it needs to be spelled out for me. I'm sorry. People say I'm
No,
smart,
you're
but
fine.
it's not true.
So everybody that's watching, everybody that is listening on the podcast, all the things, make sure that you go follow Dylan at Mr. Trans USA 22 on the social medias and things. You can keep track of him, pageant stuff, all the things, things.
And
Continue
honestly,
the conversation.
yeah,
Continue the
anybody who was
conversation.
interested in the pageant, or like I always do, anybody who's interested, one-on-one conversations, just like a video chat, because there's so much you can't go through in a text. So I do block off about half an hour of time for anybody who's interested to talk about any questions they have. So,
which is fantastic.
Wow,
I think
you do
more
than most
more
title
people need to.
holders.
More
Whoops,
people
sorry.
need to do that.
Whoops.
Do you have any gigs coming up where people can go watch you perform if they're in the area?
I am going to be doing our like in-person ceremony with our West Virginia Mr. and Miss on Friday in Charleston. I actually don't remember the name of this bar because it was a sort of a last-minute addition to this, but I need to go look up these details. But I will share that flyer shortly after here. But I'm really excited because they've been like messaging with me back and forth. It'll be super fun.
Nice.
And we don't require these. So this is all they're doing, that they want to make this special for them. So I'm really trying to put that out there so everybody can see what they're doing.
I say encourage it. Encourage it.
Seriously.
Visibility.
Yes. And other than that, because of the recent like medical stuff, I've kind of taken a back seat until about January sometime. Maybe it's been a lot on that end. So
breaks are needed. Sometimes breaks are absolutely needed. So do you take the time that you need?
You do you, boo.
That's important.
You do you.
Abs yells at me all the time. He's like, "Have you actually taken a break yet?"
There's a break and then there's a break. Felicia and I don't have a whole hell of a lot going on this next month. December 10th, we have sex trivia at Gracie's, so make sure y'all come out for that. It's always a good time. I don't know what organization we're supporting this month, to be determined. But that's always fun. It's always a good time. So make sure to come out for that. Dress warmly. It gets a little chilly out there.
Oh, aren't you going to tell them about your ugly sweater or
that's right.
onesie?
That's right. So like we did last year, we're gonna do an ugly sweater, or if you have like a naughty onesie, you can wear a naughty onesie. So come out and be festive, because why the fuck not? And then December 18th, I am at Three Fates, which is happening at C7, 5 p.m. I'm actually bringing an entirely new Elton John number. Brand fucking new. Never seen it before, never done it before.
You've never seen it before?
I've never seen it before, no. I don't. I haven't bits. Legitimately, haven't seen it before. Currently see pieces of it scattered
Oh.
around my drag cave, but as a whole, no, I've never seen it before.
Oh my God.
You're like, I'm excited to see how this turns out.
So it'll be a surprise even to me.
For everyone.
So it's a brand new Elton John holiday number. So come out for that. It's the Island of Misfit Toys. So it's always kind of a crapshoot as far as burlesque numbers. It's always a damn good time. I highly recommend it. Come out and check it out. Get your tickets because they sell out quick, and go in for the good seats so you don't bitch about the fact that some
I
of this
can't
floor work you're in the
see.
back. Like,
Why do
get
I
up
see
front.
people's heads?
Don't be cheap. Don't be cheap. Get the good seats. So,
Don't judge
Always
me.
have to get because I'm short.
and Felicia, do you have anything coming? You don't have anything coming up, do you? No, that's all right. Sometimes it's good to take a
So
break.
I am okay with that.
Yeah.
I know in the
Yeah.
past I have gone gangbusters, but I'm okay with that right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you have a booking,
And
I'll take it, but I'm not like
I'm not pushing for it. Yeah, I'm not scrambling for it this month. A break is good. And then next week, we have author Lee Call. They're going to be on. They might actually be in studio with me, so that'll be exciting.
oh,
They've written several books. One of them was At Least He's Dead, which is a fantastic little zombie book that I read.
I need to get that.
At the Halloween story hour at Brick Road Coffee. That was so much fun. But make sure that you tune in next week for that, because that should be a good conversation. And of course,
Yes.
thank you so much, Dylan, for joining us tonight. It was a fantastic conversation. I'm glad that we were able to kind of touch on some things that I think that if people watching back, I think it was a good conversation. We talked about good stuff, which is
And I think
good.
it's like you brought stuff like that were questions that a lot of people had, but sometimes people are afraid to ask or be like offensive in a way with it. And like,
I'm
no,
not
like,
afraid to ask
Oh,
shit.
we're not afraid to ask questions.
like the thing is, like any system or person who is a title holder thinks that they haven't made mistakes or the system hasn't had anything to improve on, like they're lying to you. Like,
Oh, it's bullshit. If they're like, oh no, this is perfect. There's nothing. Girl,
like really,
we could
I got
start
the
on this, but we'd be here for another hour and a half.
right. And it's like I'm just gonna.
Let me get my tea.
yeah. Oh no, is that the private session we're going to be doing?
Right.
Is that for the paid viewers?
Oh,
We
and make sure that
could.
if you haven't subscribed, I was going to say prescribed. If you haven't subscribed to our
It's
Patreon
prescribed
yet,
to.
make sure that you do that. Because as always with our guests, we're going to do a little bit of the after show. So we'll be posting that conversation with Dylan on there probably tomorrow-ish or so.
He says that
So make
because
sure that
he's the one
you
doing it.
make sure that you subscribe to our Patreon, where you can find exclusive content that we don't post anywhere else. Literally nowhere. And there's some good content on there. So yeah.
Even I go back and watch it.
I love how I get to
I
see
edit
the
it, so
comments.
I don't I watch it plenty. I edit it, so I don't need to go back and watch a
You
lot
don't
of
like
it.
to hear me laugh over and over?
Mostly
Thank
my
you.
own
Archie
voice.
says thank you. 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 Thank you.
Aw. I love seeing Archie and Jericho in here too. Like, so that was my first national I went to too, was EOY, and saw Jericho, and we kind of like started talking even then. It was just really, he's such a wonderful person.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh,
All
yes.
right,
And
y'all. Thank you
to
all
think,
so much for. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Felicia. Please, by all means.
Screwed y'all up today.
no, we're just reading the same line all at the same time.
It's
It's
fine.
fine.
We
It's
just
fine.
it's fine.
Thank you to all who watched live and who watch on the replay, and those that have listened to us on the podcast. I don't know where these people are, I guess, because it's more anonymous. I have to thank you anonymously, but more than 6,500 people have downloaded our episodes, and I can't figure out why. But thanks for
See,
listening
sometimes
on the
it's easier to listen
podcast.
than the mess of watching.
Like, I don't want to see that.
I like to look at myself.
Just look at
What?
myself when I like talking to people. No.
We weren't going to talk about it. We will see you next week for your Wednesday night conversation. Good night.